their organization does. And I mean, I was working for some great organizations, especially when I was doing nonprofit work, and it was nice to see them succeed, but there's something so satisfying about building that for yourself, and your success is yours. And I think that pride that you find in that is amazing.
Yep, completely agree. Yep, it's a really proud feeling. Yeah, good. So yeah, that's how, hopefully that's gave you an idea of the background, the whole long story short of how we got there. But yeah, coming up in 6 years now, and which sounds like a long time when I say it out loud, but it doesn't feel like, because I'm still learning every single day something new, definitely.
That's amazing though. That's 6 years of doing something that you love. And I think, you know, I've obviously followed your business as we're friends and have known each other for a while now, but seeing your business grow and sort of seeing, as you've said, like you sort of kind of change your focus and you start to find new things that you love. I think like you've done some really cool event work now, and I think you also really find your style. And I found this with photography as well. When I started out, I kind of knew which types of things I like to do. But the longer that I've done it, the more I've learned the style that I like and the people I like to work with. And I mean, I think with your work, I didn't know anything about flowers really when I met you. Same thing. I thought, oh, it's nice to get flowers and, you know, but I didn't really know anything about them. And when I first met Amanda, we did a styled shoot together. So for those who don't know what that is, it's a bunch of suppliers come together. Usually one person sort of spearheads it, which was Amanda. And a bunch of other suppliers come on board and sort of offer their creativity and services, and together you create a creative photo shoot, I guess. So that's how Amanda and I met, and that was the first time that I had ever seen flowers, especially wedding flowers, that weren't your very traditional, you would know the right word, but the very like rounded bouquet, the sort of traditional look that you see. And Amanda's stuff is so like freestyle, and you incorporate so much foliage into it and wild kind of looking flowers, and it's amazing. I didn't know that existed.
Thank you, that is good to hear, because that's the kind of style, like you say, of your photography that I've evolved into over the years, because I enjoy it. And I think that's another really important thing about self-employed, which you don't have at the start. At the start, it's like, who do I think I am that I can go into this and actually make it something that I enjoy and make it hours that I want to work? And, you know, because at the start you'll do anything for anybody.
Yes.
But as it evolves over the years, it's like, well, actually, I think I enjoy this style better, so therefore I'll be better served to someone else who enjoys that also. So there's been a lot of jobs now I've declined over the past few years because I just don't think I would be the best fit for that design. And it might be that they're a bit more traditional, or whatever. They're just not fitting something. And if I think in a creative job, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then there's no way you can do your best work, and that's just not fair on anyone. If you're going to continue to take those jobs, I would have been as well to just stay in my old job, which I didn't enjoy. So yeah, it's definitely in a creative business. I think I've heard a few people say that, how you find your style as time goes on, and then you're quite guarded of it.
Yeah, and I think though that as much as looking back, it would be nice if I just knew at the start, this is my style, and just focus all of my attention and energy on learning that and perfecting it and marketing for that. But I think you're right. I don't think it works that way. I think we all start out kind of just with a broad idea of what we want to do. And maybe that's not such a bad thing, because then you try things, you know, even you were saying with the floristry, you kind of had your hand in the retail shop and the mail order stuff, and you learned a lot from that. So it was valuable experience, but you knew that's not what you wanted to do. And I remember, you know, the first time turning down a booking, it was a wedding booking, and thinking, oh my God, I'm turning away work. And it's such a scary thing. But see, the more you do that and you build up that confidence in you and what you do, you're so much happier, and your clients are happier because you're only working with people that want you, and you're only working with people whose style you love. And it's just, it works so well.
Yeah, it's much better. It takes a while to get your confidence to that stage as well, to be able to decline a job. Yeah.
Definitely. But it is nice as well because, you know, you'll know this yourself. Like, I know photographers that do shoot in quite a traditional style, or the brand photography that I do is very sort of candid and modern. And sometimes people get in touch looking for very traditional sort of corporate headshots. And it's not what I do, but I think in being able to pass along the names of another photographer, another florist who does do that style, it just makes you look even more like an expert in your field. And then hopefully that gets reciprocated as well. And if somebody gets an inquiry in that's more suited to you, they'll return the favor. So I think that actually works in our favor.
Yep. It's a good place to be once you get there, isn't it?
Yeah, it just takes a while, as you said. It definitely,
yes.
I mean, there are times, like obviously right now is quite a trying time for businesses, and I'd be lying if I said I hadn't had a few inquiries and that I knew weren't the right fit, but I was so tempted to take just because of the times that we're in. But I think you have to stick to your guns, and it's always the right choice to just stick to what you love to do. And as you said, there's no point running your own business if you're not going to do the type of work you love to do. You might as well go back to a 9-to-5.
Yeah, definitely.
So on that note, Amanda has some big news. She's already shared it, you know, with all of her friends and family and across social media channels. But for those of you listening today and don't know, Amanda.
Yes, big, literally, as I can barely fit into this screen here just now. So yeah, we are expecting twins this year.
Which is so amazing because that's such a rare thing. I don't think very many people can say they've experienced that. So tell us about how you're feeling about expecting twins and running a business and planning a maternity leave. How's that all coming along?
Oh, and of course, throw in the current global pandemic to that mix.
Who could forget about that?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, thank you. I am right in the middle of second trimester, and the rumours are true. It's a good place to be. First trimester was a dark place. Full of constant nausea and sickness and that. So yeah, which you think is never going to end. However, it does, and it passes, and now I feel good, so that's great. And yeah, babies are doing absolutely brilliantly, both of them. We've got the best healthcare with everything that's going on. I still cannot fault the care we've received from the NHS. Excuse me, this constant excuse me is heartburn, which now explains.
Oh.
And so yeah, cannot fault the care we've had. It's been fantastic. We've got a lovely consultant who's taking great care of all of us. So we're doing great. In terms of how it's affected the business, there's such a mash up just now of what's affecting business between the current pandemic and pregnancy and planning for mat leave, because both have kind of crossed over into one and made things definitely a bit tricky. But I think when John and I were planning a family, so I don't know if that's made things slightly easier, because we knew at the end of last year that it was something we were going to start thinking about. However, no one knows really when that's going to happen, you know. And for the type of job I do, mostly weddings, events, as you know, then the only thing I can do is look at my diary for the year ahead and try and plan as best you can. But obviously when you're planning a family, it's a bit of an unpredictable thing, and you just don't know what's going to happen and when. However, from that perspective, we've been very, very lucky, and we started planning our family last year, at the end of last year, and then it happened really quickly. So kind of what I'd forecast for my diary this year has pretty much worked out if we take the pandemic coronavirus out of it. So what I'd looked ahead was just previously, not thinking I'm going to be pregnant or anything like that, I would just take on as much work as I can physically cope with. And sometimes that means this is generally summer period, from May, summer, but from May through to September can be 7-day weeks, late nights, early starts, because I enjoy it, and that's what you do. And don't get me wrong, I'm only human, I get tired and exhausted. but I do enjoy it, and it's that period that really keeps the business going. I get lots of repeat work from it. Lots of happy clients, and then I can get lots of social media content as well, and photographing all these events and all these weddings, and it's that then carries us through the winter months when it's a bit quieter. So a really busy, good summer wedding season, as it's known, as you know, is really the time. So last year, because my clients tend to book a year or so in advance, when we were thinking about planning a family last year, all I could really do was look ahead to my diary for this year and try and just take it down a notch. So maybe just one wedding a week as opposed to 2 or 3. So generally I'd have one maybe midweek and 2 at the weekend. And just thinking, well, if I was pregnant, probably one, because the size of the events and the weddings we do, one is probably going to be more than enough. So yeah, I started doing that, and thankfully that side of things has worked out not too bad.
Well, and I think that you're right, that really is all you can do to plan. And with babies, it's one of those things, so you can decide, okay, we're going to start a family, and you start trying to start a family, and it could happen quite quickly, as it did for you, or it could have taken 6 months or a year or longer, and you just don't know. So as much as you can have this idea in your head of, okay, I'm going to take on a little bit less work during these months, and I'm going to try and plan for this, you can't really know, because, you know, as you said before, we don't have a crystal ball. We can't know exactly when things are going to happen or predict global pandemics or other such things.
Yeah. So as it turns out, I did have, I think there's only been 2 bookings that I had already taken, which are going to be round about when I'm due, that I've had to cancel. So that's a bummer. It's heartbreaking for any business, especially a small business, to then go to all that hard work to get a booking in the diary and then you have to let it go. And I know you've been through this as well. You try every available option before you get to that stage. But I think once we knew we were expecting more than one baby, especially, it just, something had to give. So unfortunately, I've had to let go of 2 bookings, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's a bit of a drop in the ocean. So I can't complain too much. That's worked out quite well.
But it's hard because I remember, so quick story of my own here. So my daughter was born in July. So Amanda, you're due at the end of August, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so both of us who work in the wedding industry, so primarily I was doing wedding photography at that time as well, and having a baby, or babies in your case, due in summer months is challenging, but I was the same. I think I only had a handful of bookings that I knew I wouldn't be able to do. And I was terrified to tell those clients. I was so worried about how those couples would feel. And it's so hard. And even though, you know, you do your research and you go, okay, I found these people that are available on your date, or I would recommend these people with a similar style, or I had a couple of people that were working with me on bigger weddings at that point who had a really similar style. So I checked to see if one of them would be available. So even going to couples with these options, you just think, oh, they're going to think I'm the worst. And you know what? Every single one of them was amazing, because it's good news that you're sharing, and it's totally understandable. They know that we can't plan these things, and everyone was fine. But I totally agree with you. It's this sense of, you know, you work so hard to get bookings in, and then you get to know people a little bit and you get excited about their plans. And it is a bit heartbreaking to have to say, I can't do it anymore. And you do worry about, or are they going to hate me? Or are they going to think I did this on purpose or something? And of course, those people are wonderful and don't, but the way your brain works.
I know. And the same, my clients are lovely. And I think that's going back to what we spoke about earlier, about working with the right types of briefs and jobs that you want to work with, but also the people behind that as well. You know, you've got to get on. It's such an important part of their day, their photographer, their floristry, and everything that's involved. You've got to have some sort of connection as well. So like you, generally most of the clients I have, we've got some sort of friendship almost that started because we've been chatting for so long. Between about 9 and 12 months is the average time people book in advance. So that's a long time to get to know someone. But yeah, like you said, the people I did have to cancel were just lovely about it. Could not have been any more nicer and excited for us, and like, don't worry about us, we'll get someone else, just you look after yourself. Yeah. But being the twins as well, so in an ideal world, we were thinking if we'd fallen pregnant at the turn of the year, we would be due around September time. And we've been so lucky that kind of is what happened. So my official due date is the